Good evening. This is Conservation Commission meeting on Monday, December 18th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. at the Town Hall, 160 Patriots Road, East Templeton, Mass. In the conference room. Number one is a review of meeting minutes from 11/20/23. Dave, you all set?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Okay, then the second will be at the 6:32, will be NOI number 3040388 continued. Elm Street, Dennison Ave, Birch Army Corps of Engineer lands for the Ecological Restoration Limited Project for ongoing ecological and habitat restoration, including vegetation control within inland. Resource areas, the Bank and Riverfront Area.
Yep. And with us this evening, we have Tom Wanselman, the habitat biologist from Massachusetts Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. If you would come up, that would be great. So on top, you have the issuance, on top you have the issuance of the file number.
Yep.
Yep. The second page is the map that Tom provided. The third page is the update that you provided today,
Okay,
and then your submission.
this is the map there.
Yep.
And this is the one for today. Okay,
So this is the first time that we've all met together because it took quite a long time to get a file number. So,
A little slow.
I mean, they know about the project, obviously, but if you want to give for anybody who's watching a quick summary of the project, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it, that would be great.
Yeah, exactly. So the Mass Wildlife, Mass Division of Fisheries and Wildlife is working in cooperation with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on that portion of the Birch Army Corps flood control area here in Templeton. Part of it's in Winchendon too as well. It's a priority project for our natural heritage and endangered species restoration program to restore fairly rare and critical rare species habitat and natural communities. These are fire-influenced communities that occur on specific soil types that are found there on the Army Corps land. It's been a long-term planning process to start to work on these lands and our work with Army Corps of Engineers. We started last year in December on the first part of the project, which starts with a timber sale where we're removing some of the trees there in many of the areas. A lot of the area was covered with red pine plantations, which are all subsequently dying from red pine scale disease. So we're going to remove that, and then we'll have various other practices that we're going to do to restore the site and then reintroduce prescribed fire in there, which will be the long-term management. The overall objective really is to have the vegetation growing in there that naturally would grow on the site that supports some of the rarest and some declining species that are out there, especially some of our rare birds and then some of our rare lepidopterans, moths and butterflies. So it's been a pretty big, important project, a lot of years, a lot of people in the planning. I'm just one part of many people at Mass Wildlife and Army Corps that are working on this. So it's a team, our biodiversity team, that's doing that. So far, everything's been going good. The timber harvest has resumed starting last week. We hope that the purpose of the NOI is to continue some of the practices within the wetland resource areas that the forest cutting plan can't allow for or permit for.
okay. Any questions, Dave?
So the forest cutting plan had permitted most of the work thus far. It's now in front of you to continue the project because it extends into the buffer zone where the forest cutting plan didn't cover.
It seems very nice what he's done. I don't see any problem. He's answered all, basically what he wanted you to answer.
Can you speak to what Mass DEP wanted you to answer?
Yeah, I'll
regarding.
Yeah, all those questions in there. I'll go through each one on that. Just give me 1 second here. The first, what that came with the file number, DEP just had a few questions and then wanted some verification on some things in there.
Yep.
They did have a question there about the east-west streams in the property that are shown as perennial, and the 200-foot riverfront area extends from the bank. The maps I showed do indicate that. There's the 200-foot riverside area along all those streams and a portion of the Otter River that we're doing work in. And then the 100-foot wetland resource buffer from the edge of the wetland too as well. And then I did add the numbers in there for the estimate areas of the bordering vegetated wetland, the riverfront area, and the land subject to flooding,
Okay.
in which work may occur. I just want to stress that in the NOI application and what DEP asked for is they're really they keep talking about alterations of area and then what you're going to replicate. And I just want to stress that from our perspective, we are not altering it. We're returning the area to a natural vegetated state of vegetation that's more highly suitable for those areas. So it's not necessarily, we're not altering any stream flow or trying to alter any areas for water infiltration. We're actually trying to improve the area for the natural vegetation that grows there. I mean, these are practices that we've been doing all throughout the state. So, but I did put those numbers down there for those particular areas that are in the work zone. And then also in the document itself, I have the amount of acres and also subsequent square footage of the area that we're working in within the stream buffer zones and the wetland buffer zones themselves.
Okay.
And I addressed that second section about how they asked about the proposed alteration replacement columns. And again, being an Ecological Restoration Limited Project, the issuing authority being the Conservation Commission, we can proceed without requiring typical performance standards that they would have. They also asked about the proposed road network on the site plan. And in the maps, all the roads shown there are pre-existing roads. They're all dirt roads, except for the extension to Elm Street, which is a paved road. And all that we're proposing within the application is to improve any of those roads that are currently there, such as grading. We're not going to be paving anything, but grading and or widening in them, so we can continue to use those for management purposes, specifically for prescribed fire. Some of those roads were, as I said, they were already there pre-existing, and some of them are within the buffer zones themselves. So we're just looking to improve those and actually prevent erosion of those roads that are in there and just use them on a occasional basis for management actions.
So you're saying you're improving current roads when their comment was for new permanent access roads. You're not saying that they're new.
No, they're not. They're all pre-existing.
Got it.
Yeah, and even in the application, when I discussed the practices in there, everything in there was improving the existing access that was already there. We weren't proposing on putting in any new roads in there. If in the future that is the case, I will have to just come back to the Concom.
Yeah.
With maps showing the proposed locations. But as for now, they're just the dirt roads that are already there.
Okay.
The DEP also asked if the desired pitch pine oak habitat
Can be
created within the BVW. No, we're not looking to put that in the bordering vegetated wetland. It typically wouldn't grow there. The pitch pine and oak habitat is on the sandy soils that are there abutting the bordering vegetated wetland. And then DEP was wanted to make sure that I documented if there was, because there's going to be some changes in the cover type there, that it won't result in increased flooding of offsite or downstream properties, which is a legitimate question, especially I think they were concerned with, anything that could happen to anybody. But this being Army Corps land, they purposely purchased these areas for all their flood control. So the majority and all the streams and water and wetlands are draining right down into the Otter River, which is their impoundment. So there isn't going to be any effect to anybody downstream, because especially considering right now with all the heavy rains, they're backing that water up so they can slowly release it so people don't get flooded in there. So there isn't any issues with that happening. One, We tend not to have any runoff within these areas. Any of the older skid roads have water bars on them to divert any of that runoff in there. Kind of the third part is work is all on extremely well-drained sandy soil. Even some of the rain events that we had last December, you're not really seeing any runoff in there. It percolates down very clearly in there. And then two, I also included in here with kind of a picture of some of the specialized plants that would grow in this system, and they have extremely deep tap roots in there to be able to hold on to the soil. So our restoration work to kind of enhance those plants growing in the understory, we're actually hold on to a lot of that soil and a lot of that runoff in there too as well, and infiltrate that. So we're not talking about any areas that are going to be great, that are graded next to the river or along the streams or anything in the resource areas like that, where you would have a lot of exposed soil and things of that nature that would run off. The vegetation, if there is any, the vegetation quickly responds back, even in the areas that were harvested last year in the red pine plantations, where the majority of the trees there were removed. We saw that especially the Pennsylvania sedge and the blueberry quickly grew back and covered much of the site, especially this growing season. So the recovery is quite fast. And I think that was the last part that DEP had a question on.
Thank you for touching on all that. Any questions for him? Mr.
I have
Andrews?
no question, Dave. Do you have any
Any
questions?
Do we
And
have
you
any?
answered those questions that you just
Yep.
talked, you answered what we had.
Do we have anybody in the audience that has any questions for Tom?
Have a couple. I'm in a butter to the project on the last house on the street.
Can you say your name and your address?
Yeah, full blank, 195 Elm Street.
Thank you.
And you said you're not making any new roads, any new access roads. What's there is just going to be improved in order to get around. And I'm just wondering, right now around the gates you cleaned out around it where you started this year. Are you going to be doing something to get the gates back to where they were so you can't get around them? The big problem down there is with ATVs and dirt bikes and, that you cleared out last year with a big increase in that over the summer. And it's only going to get worse, I think. I don't know what you can do about that or anybody, because, there's not enough law enforcement to do anything.
Yeah, that is an increasing concern, and and we've talked about with the Army Corps about that too. So just on the first part where they're working at right now, I've already met with one of their natural resource managers at Army Corps, because some of the stone barriers that were there weren't close enough together that you can see issues of dumping in there. And we already have the funding that after they're completed in there, we're going to put that stone bit back in there. If we need gates in there, we're going to have that in there too. We're not putting that stuff in right now because we need to finish the timber harvest initially at first. And then once that's done, then we'll address all those access issues. It is extremely challenging because the area has a long history of illegal off-road vehicle use that's gone back generations. It is an issue all around, but working with the Corps and hopefully the local law enforcement, we're going to try to do what we can as much as possible within our power to be able to at least. We're probably not going to be able to stop it, but what we can do is just try to manage it so it's going in areas that can, if it can just stick to the roads or areas that are away from, and especially some of the natural communities and the more off-road areas that we don't want to get trampled by those things. So it is a challenge, but we also need to, there is also in the wintertime when there is snow, there is also a lot of snowmobile trails in there too. So we have to be able to allow for that access too as well. But initially we have to wait till the timber harvest is done, and then we'll start addressing some of those issues in there too as well. But no, it was one thing that Army Corps and also DCR brought up too as well when we started working on the projects. And it is a concern throughout the whole Army Corps land and even on the abutting wildlife management area. But one thing that we have found at Mass Wildlife over time, especially some of the work we did in Winchendon, up on New Boston Road there, is that people start to come to these areas once the restoration comes in for either blueberry picking, they're hunting, they're fishing. And so when we wind up having more people visiting these areas, sometimes we start to see a decrease in some of the illegal activities that take place there. There are two lock gates on this road, but folks can still drive around it as currently on a quad or dirt bike or whatnot. But we're going to do everything we can to try to prevent that as much as possible, to the extent that we can.
Thank you.
Just down from the gate that's on Elm Street, going straight down, as you get down there, you get wetlands on either side. Are you going actually into those wet areas?
No, on both sides of the
Yeah.
paved road going
Yeah.
in. No, it's around it. So the timber harvest will take place around that on each side, and you'll see the flagging that's up there. So right now, like where they're working at right now, you'll see the orange flagging that goes along the edge of the wetland that's in there. All that is approved, all of that has to be marked out and showed on the forest cutting plan map. So the orange permit that's on the sign right there, there's a forester from DCR who enforces the regulations of forest cutting, and he comes in there, and I have to have that all laid out beforehand. And so he comes and checks on that periodically to make sure that that all those rules that are in there and the plan we're following it in place. And any changes to that plan, I have to go to DCR first, and they have to approve it before I can actually implement that. For example, where they're working at right now, we had to change a location of a bridge crossing. We couldn't put that in there until we got approval from him first. So no, we're not going through the wetlands with any harvesting equipment. We may be, when we start to manage the site with prescribed fire, we may back the fire down into the wetland, but it's usually wet and it'll go out at that point. And if there's any invasives in there, if we do get the order of conditions, we'll control those with herbicides in there.
Another question, on the road that goes up to the right toward the railroad tracks. On the left-hand side, the north side of that road, there's an old dump. I'm just wondering, is that gonna stay there? Is anything, I mean, there's old TVs, monitors, stoves, you name it, you know, pretty active when I first moved down there back in the late '70s, and since the gates, obviously, most of the dumping has stopped, but who knows what's under there, because at some point, somebody had actually kind of buried it a little bit.
Yeah, I discussed that with the Army Corps itself, and I know exactly where that dump is, where you're talking about. And we're going to address that too as well. Once the timber harvest is in there and completed, we're going to look at the site, and then probably when we're putting out a contract to do some of the put more stones in there or whatnot, we probably also do one to clean some of that out. Because some of the especially the issues with, like, if we're using prescribed fire to manage it, we can't have anything in there like plastics, things like that, that would like catch on fire and create a health hazard or a smoldering problem. So that's definitely going to have to be addressed afterwards. And, you know, we do have the funding to do that. And just to let you know that the way the project works and any of the proceeds from the timber sale, and this is really pretty unique and actually a really good, not to get too sidetracked, but just so you know that the money that comes from the timber sale goes into a special trust, and that money can only be spent back on the Army Corps lands to control access or to clean up garbage or to do any more of the habitat or forestry work in there. So it doesn't go disappear. It has to all go back in, and we have to account for that. So that's one project that's going to be on the list of things to do, is also to take care of the dump.
You know, this thing, you get some nice colored maps of that. Is that available on any Mass Wildlife website, and get a copy of those colored maps?
Well, these,
In black and white.
yeah.
They don't show anything.
Yeah, I know these. Well, I'll give you my email, my phone number. And I drive by your house. I'll be like probably 3-5 days a week, and I can always drop anything off that you need as well. But so these maps here, they were probably all posted with the application,
We'll post them.
and or I can get those to you too as well. There is a generalized map on the Mass Wildlife website for this particular habitat project. That just shows kind of the topo map and then the outline of where the project's taking at, along with a brief description on it as well.
Right, yeah, I got copies, Jessica sent me copies of that, but they're black and white, so a lot of the details are missing.
Oh, no, I can get you any maps you like. So we can talk later, after the hearing and I can get that stuff to you.
And I just, last question is, on that road going up, the railroad track, that's for my property. Their property, you're not doing any cutting on the south side of that.
No, yeah, we're not doing anything on that side of the road. Everything where they're at and where the log landing at is right now on the north side of the road. They're just moving north from there. There's nothing on that side of the road. So that patch of woods that's between the road and your house, is gonna be left as is.
Okay, just might as well pop it.
Yep, yeah, and just to let you know too, they're only gonna be there for a few more weeks. That area in there doesn't have a lot of volume in it.
Right.
They would have been done a lot faster, but well, when we have rain, plus their one of their harvesting equipment broke, and it was gonna take a while to get the part in.
Thank you, Tom.
Anybody else have any questions?
I was just gonna add that if and when this proceeds and you do the prescribed fire, you will need to contact the Templeton Fire Department for a fire permit.
Yeah, just to let you know about that, the way that works is, we draft a prescribed burn plan that describes, the people, the personnel, the weather conditions that have to be under before we can burn in those areas. And the local fire chief is involved in that, and he has the authority over whether we can burn or not. And so they're always contacted, and we more often not always invite the fire department to come with us
Perfect.
and work with us on our burns, because they are a collaborative effort between multiple agencies, state, federal, and the towns.
Awesome. Great. Anybody have any more questions, comments, or additional information?
Dave, please, no? No?
You good?
Can
I'm good.
Yeah.
I get a
George?
motion to accept?
Or motion
Or what do
whatever.
we do?
What do you wanna do?
Positive, negative.
Nope, that's an RDA. You're on an NOI right now. So,
I'll make a motion to accept the NOI.
I second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
all those opposed? Okay, passes at 6:52.
Great, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, Phil. If you two want to exchange information, you are more than welcome to do that. Yeah, absolutely. Let me get you guys the paperwork. Here you go.
Good idea.
Yeah. Mr. Andrews, do you also have the minutes for me too? Did you do that? Awesome, thank you. Project.
I'm just looking at the wrong one.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. I got the signature. got
We're
that.
not there yet.
Yep. That's okay.
Are you here?
Oh, sure.
Okay, that will,
Are we good with that one? Hold on just one second. I remember last time I was like missing some. Yeah, this thing. The buffer zone impact we forgot to ask. Tom, what is the shortest distance between the limit of the project disturbance in the wetland resource area? 0?
Shortest distance.
Yeah, the buffer zone impact. Is it 0? Well, if it would be 0 if you were like to the water edge.
Yeah, we were gonna go for a lot of the work in there. It's gonna go right down to the water's
Okay,
edge.
so then it would be
So,
0.
yep.
Okay, thank you. So I don't have to email you later, figure that out. Thank you. All right, we got this. Awesome. Thank you.
okay, we'll close that one at 6:55.
Again, that's longer.
Yeah.
My work, I do, I mean, it's a Westboro, but.
All right.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is RDA for 712 Patriots Road for cleanout of trash, brush, and debris between the parking lot and pond. The request is to determine whether the work depicted is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act or any municipal wetland ordinance or bylaws. And to open, I will read the legal notice.
Maps that were.
712 Patriots Road, request for determination of applicability. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a request for determination of applicability filed by Mark Elbag Jr., P.E., on behalf of Timothy Guerin. Project location is 712 Patriots Road, Templeton. Description of project is clean out of trash, brush, and debris within the parking lot and the pond. The request is to determine whether the work depicted is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act or any municipal wetlands ordinances or bylaws. The hearing will be held on December 18th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. at Templeton Town Hall. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The request for determination of applicability is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road during regular office hours. The RDA is also available upon request from J. Case at templetonma.gov, George Andrews, Chair of Templeton Conservation Commission. And with us this evening to represent the request, we have Timothy Guerin of 712 Patriots Road. If you want to come up in case the commission has any questions, that would be great. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Okay. You're now open here?
Yep,
Um,
you're good.
I have a personal question about the property. When did you, pave the parking lot?
It's a couple, well, we repaved it. It was paved,
It was paved, but when did you pave it recently?
maybe 2-3 years ago. We didn't pave it all. Paved about 50%.
I'm talking down near at the end of it, near the pond. When was that paved?
3 years.
Yeah. Well, it appears to be that whole edge along the river and up above here is falling out. And all the water is, and the stuff is going into the pond that's right there. That will have to be repaired. Number one, okay? That's just to let you know, I was there today, and it's a mess over there. You got water going up over the top of the road that goes across and then down on the other side. And it's got a groove about this wide and about this long, all the water going down there. So there's a problem. You got junk going into the pond from your parking lot. Okay, now, can you tell me exactly where do you want to clean
The pond's edge,
the pond edge?
yeah, from the
Okay.
boat ramp, about 50 or 60 feet to the
Okay.
back.
Okay, from what I can remember when we were down there before, you had other things on the side of the road that the state told you to remove. So I don't know if this is ours to do or the state's. That's my problem. Because they made you remove the stuff before.
Well, I got a letter from the office here to move some logs.
No, I'm talking about, you had boxes that you put dirty clothes that you were getting rid of and all that stuff there. And that was,
Yeah, we got rid of those. We couldn't,
I know you got rid of it, but what I'm saying is, did the state tell you to do it, or was it?
no, it was, I couldn't stand it. They were
Okay.
dumping off furniture and it was a constant battle.
Okay, my next question is, how do you plow the driveway? How do you plow your parking lot? Up and down or across and? forth?
Kind of every which way.
Okay, that's telling me you're plowing,
A lot of it gets pushed up to the road
yeah,
from the back. I come in low and plows up to the pavilion and I make a path, and then I start pushing to the street, and make a bank at
Okay.
the road.
That's what I wanted to know, because I understood that that's the way it was supposed to be done last, and I didn't know if you were plowing down towards the end or what you were doing. But, you seem to have got that driveway that far above wetland is over there. So you really, I don't know why it's doing any good. You're just dropping the water right off into the pond, and, you shouldn't be doing that,
Yeah, well, we gotta reberm it.
huh?
We gotta reberm it.
Well, what should have been done, and I read, yeah, just so you know, you have a right of way out in the back. With the other people, the land behind you. Or you paved that area, and you shouldn't have paved that. You could have left about 6 feet from this pond up to here. And it should have all been done with large stone, so the water would go into the stone first before it went into the pond. That's my biggest concern right now. Because you weren't supposed to pave it all going up with the other road up that,
I don't
Because
think
there
it
was
goes
a-
all the way down.
because there was a pipe that went underground. And
Yeah,
now
well, it's
water's
blocked.
not going underground, it's going
No.
up over everything.
Yeah, which I don't like.
Right.
I would like to fix it, but I guess that'll take another type of meeting.
All right, but those are the things I noticed when I was there. Now, you're saying you want to take out, what size, wood do you want to take out of the wetland?
Oh, it's like spindly stuff. I've cut it down before with a chainsaw. It's a lot of work because there's a lot of stumps in there, and the ground's really uneven.
Well,
I-
that is actually part of the pond. You really shouldn't be in there cutting anything down. And,
Well, I
you
have.
go in, you get all those cans out. You could put boots on up to your knees and walk in there and pull them all out from what I saw.
No, not when the leaves are on there.
Well, that's a different story, but right now, there's no leaves on it. But the thing is, we mentioned that 5, 6 years ago when we were over there, that you had to go in and take them out by hand, and you weren't going to be able to cut anything in that wetland. But we have not been watching you, so we don't know exactly how you're doing it. So that's my concern right now. David?
Yeah, it's kind of a sticky wicket.
Okay, that's the road that comes in, goes off that.
What's the reasoning of taking all this brush out on the edge?
The reason,
Are you turning this into a beach?
no, just I don't like going in there to get the cans and the trash out. I'd like it to be walkable.
The root system is absorbing some of the water. If it's not there, if it gets pulled out.
Yeah.
There could be even more erosion and washout if not properly stabilized. My question was, why do you have a Mass DEP number up from 2017? Is that still,
Yeah, that should have been taken down after you were done in 2017.
if you're right on the.
Yeah, I'll take it down if that's what you want me to do. Nobody told me to take it down. They told me to put it up, so.
Okay. I was just asking, it was 5 years old. I was just asking.
Yeah,
I think that
that's what-
project's done.
Yeah.
Just because it makes it look like something is approved there that's not, that's an old thing. So I would recommend that coming down regardless of year 2 decision. So the request in front of you is to determine whether the work Mr. Guerin wants to do is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act or subject to any municipal wetlands bylaws. Templeton does not have any municipal
Right.
wetlands bylaws at the time, so that's not applicable. You're fine there. The question is the activity that you want to do, will it alter, dredge, and fill an area protected by the Wetlands Protection Act? If it doesn't, then you're fine, but if it does, you'd need to file an NOI. Does it alter, dredge, and fill? To alter, dredge, or fill?
Well, I'm looking to make it level. That's in grind the stumps down. So it's a level area.
Well, so you're saying grinding the stumps, but when they asked you about the little saplings or whatever, you said you were gonna pull them. So is it a grinding or a pull?
No, never intended on pulling them.
Not gonna pull. them.
There's a
Okay.
machine on an excavator that grinds them right down to the ground and doesn't take the roots. It just,
It keeps the root
it
system.
keeps the root system.
So he's asking to cut and level the vegetation
Well, the only,
between the parking lot and the pond.
the only place I've seen any roots or anything like that there is further up on the right-hand side. Are those the ones you're talking about? The ones that are this high off the ground?
Yeah, the trees aren't, well, some of them are taller than me, but they're very small.
I'm just coming over here to go to the paperwork that your engineer submitted, which is showing the area of the proposed work.
Right.
Since you're asking, so it's right here, if you can see.
Yep.
So he's talking about all that area between the pond and the parking lot.
Yep.
And the trail you're
Mm.
talking about is coming up here.
Yeah, so he wants to take out all this wetland, which we
Correct.
sold
Correct.
how many years ago when we were over there, that he could not take any of it out?
Yep.
I cannot remember when that was, but that's when he first bought the place. And started moving things. Yeah, that's right there, they were. So they used to have stuff over in here on the side, and they had to move it out. I really,
And I think he needs the NOI.
Hmm.
And
yeah, there would definitely be an
being,
line.
being right up against the, two-way, which is a state road,
It is a state road, yeah.
it
You have to find out,
has to go through,
you have to go to the state to do anything up in here.
yeah.
Well, so the submission of an NOI would go back to you guys, but it will also go to the state. This RDA has not
Right.
been reviewed by them.
Yep.
So the question on the table is the proposed work subject to the Wetlands Protection Act? And
Yes,
that's
it
what you
is.
two need to vote on.
I believe it.
Yes, it is.
So somebody needs a motion. Motion to provide the RDA with a blank determination.
Yeah.
By one of you, looking at me.
But I really think we should, have a full IDA and the state involved, I mean, the NOI and the state involved on their half, because that's their half on that left-hand side. We can't allow him to do this, if he's and he's gonna do this at the same time. That's the area they got marked.
I only want to go to the left of the boat ramp, not the right.
Well,
The area depicted in your RDA by your engineer says that you're going from the road, the state road.
Yeah, that's not what I want.
yeah,
I hear what you're saying, but that's what was submitted in the
That's
application,
what
so
we
that's
have.
what they have to
Yeah.
follow. If
Well,
that's
I'll
what
have
your
to
engineer
call 'em
submitted.
I don't even know if I'll go forward with it, you know,
Meaning if the commission were to approve it, even though you said that that's not an area you're gonna do, they would be providing you permission to do that. Even though you say that that's not what you need to do, because it's listed in the application.
Yeah.
If they were to approve it,
yeah, I
they're
should
giving
have
you
read it.
permission to do it.
I should have read it because that's not what I'm talking about.
I understand what you're saying, but they have to follow what's in writing because that's
I
what
understand.
they would grant you permission to do. So
What if that wasn't there? Does that make any difference or is it the same problem?
that's the paperwork that was provided with the application. That is indicating the area in which between the parking lot and the pond that wants to be altered.
So what does that mean? What if that area is not gonna get cleared? It's not, I don't want to do that. I just want to go,
well, he's gonna have to come back in with other paperwork, and we'll have
Yeah.
to do the NOI.
Yeah.
We
would
cannot
that make a
approve,
difference? Would that make a
Wait,
difference?
cannot approve it the way it is.
Would that make a difference? Or would it just get denied again?
We don't know. And we don't know from what we saw, I don't know why you want to clear that out, but the edging of the driveway. In fact, this is the old driveway. This is not the new driveway that you got up here.
Are you saying parking lot or driveway,
I
George?
mean, parking lot.
Okay,
This is
sorry.
not the new parking lot. This is the old parking lot. And it goes all the way down to here is where they got the, down to here is where they got the,
You got a ramp
The
in there,
ramp
too.
is right
ramp
there,
is over
yeah.
here, right here.
Yes.
Ramp is here. And all of this here. They took the parking lot, put the parking lot right up, way down here.
The parking lot that's there is old, has been there for a long time, long before me, down there.
The original
tell you that.
parking lot, but the repaving is what I'm talking about.
Well, the
The
repaving doesn't,
repaving of the parking lot went further down than the old parking lot was.
So the wet,
maybe,
so the Wetlands Protection Act says that you can't do a new driveway or a new parking lot without a filing. So anything further than what is already there,
well,
would have
it's
needed
not
a filing.
much. It's not a lot.
I understand it's not a lot, but it's still required by law that it needed a filing because it's
Well,
increasing the
we
surface
didn't-
area of the parking lot, if
didn't.
that so be. Furthermore, if it was a repavement, like you're saying, erosion control still should have been implemented on a repavement because when it rains, it washes out the parking lot into the pond.
Exactly
And
what
so,
it's
and
doing.
so that's what George was discussing with you when you sat down, which was the grindings of the repavement were getting because there was no erosion controls. So usually new pavements and repavements per WPA come before the Conservation Commission. That's the discussion going back between you two, saying when was it paved, when was it repaved, all of
I
this.
mean, I could find out if it's that important, but
Well, it already happened. That's what's making it important because the
And
grinding,
it's
and
already-
it's raining and it's getting in there. So, this is a good opportunity for, the commission and you to have a good relationship when it comes to activities that are allowable and activities that need filings. And repaving, might not always need a filing like this, but it would need a site walk and some erosion control. So we make sure that we protect the wetlands from that
This
extra
is
stuff.
where
that-
you are next to the wetlands. That should have been taken
Right.
under advisement.
So I hope that explanation helps. Do you have any more questions for Mr. Gearon or does he
No,
have
I
any
do
more for
not.
you? Otherwise,
Well,
if
do
it's,
we want to,
I need some type of motion, whatever, whichever way you two deem.
do we want to just postpone it for another month?
Why?
Or, no, we want, anyhow, we want an NOI, period. That's so
Yeah,
what we
postpone.
want. Well, I make a motion, we, reject this and ask for the NOI.
Do I have a second?
I would second that.
All those
Okay,
in
any
favor?
discussion, any discussion?
Any discussion?
Okay,
No.
all those in favor of a positive determination for this RDA and requesting an NOI? George, how do you vote?
I put, yeah,
Dave, how do you vote?
I,
At 7:13. So all this means is that the work depicted in the project does need an NOI filing. They're not saying that you won't be able to do it. They're just saying that it does follow under the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act. So at this point, you would need to now hook up with your engineer again and say that the activity will alter dredge and fill, and the commission wants an NOI in order to do the activity. So you can't cut any brush right now.
what if I never cut it? I mean,
Well, I mean, that's like the point of a buffer zone,
yeah,
is
I just assume leave it.
you're welcome to. If you don't want to proceed with the NOI and you don't want to
I
clean it
don't want to
up,
go forward with that.
then you have that right to do
But
it.
I would like to fix the pipe, so I don't know what it takes to do that, because it's just washing out the road. It's nothing that I did.
no,
You know?
it's old.
It's old, it's blocked
right.
up.
I probably got it out. But
I'd say, it's been like that for 2 years, and, I haven't dared to do it, you know?
So if you wanted to replace a pipe, that would require digging out the earth, taking out the old one and putting a new one in, and because you're digging, that's like the first line of the Wetland
That-
Protection Act, you would have to file an NOI.
Right.
Because you're
Right,
you're
you're
digging
digging out,
within the
yeah,
buffer zone of a
Yeah,
wetland.
so that's where I'm gonna go.
That's,
Okay.
you have every right to do that, and we will be here if you so choose. Yep. If you don't want to proceed with the cleanout, you don't have to, you just leave things the way they are. That's why the Wetlands Protection Act put in a buffer zone, So if you want to do work in a buffer zone, you need permission to do that. So if you're done, then we respect that and you're done. That's
Yeah.
fine. You don't have to touch that.
Yeah, I can't keep going this direction, you know, I need to get some things done, so I've got
No,
some other areas.
And going forward, if you do have an activity that you're thinking about, please reach out to myself or George and we'd be happy to come down and say, you know what, you can do this, it's allowable, we'll put some erosion controls in. I think
Yeah,
we should probably all get on a better page going forward, so.
well, let's make that part of the,
Yeah.
RDA, you know, the
NOI.
next one, NOI, whatever the
Yeah.
terminology is.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay, so I will reach out to you and Mark with the paperwork.
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
need.
I'll let them know that this isn't gonna work and to go
Correct.
forward with the pipe, fixing the pipe.
That's what you would want to tell him. Yep. And we will be here if you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you,
All right,
Sam.
we'll see you.
George and Dave, could you please sign the RDA?
This meeting will end at 7:20.
Yep. Thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay,
Want to go down the list, George? What's next on the agenda?
the next on the agenda is Ames City Templeton Fishing Gun Club. DEP Liaison continued discussion regarding conditions.
And with us this evening, we have Eric Adamson, the DEP liaison for the Templeton Fishing Game Club, to just
20 people.
continue our discussion from last month. We're doing very well. Thank you for coming.
Good.
You want to just give the commission an update? We saw each other last week and we learned that an extension is not possible because the original one expired.
Right.
So right now, the Templeton Fishing Game Club is solely operating under the Wetlands Protection Act with no order of conditions. You want to take it from there?
Sure. So, what we've decided is that's not a bad thing. It's actually going to give us the opportunity to rewrite, the order of conditions.
Yep.
File a new NOI and, kind of include, everything that we need to include and there has been changes in certain conditions, in the, redefining categories and stuff in the WPA.
Yep.
So this will give us the opportunity to kind of review that and get something that applies to us a little bit better and so our moving forward, what we'd like to do is talk to an environmental engineer, maybe get some ideas as far as writing up a better NOI and a better, list of orders
Application,
of
yeah.
conditions and
Yep.
application.
Yep.
Something that applies more to the things that we, like to do to maintain the quality of the pond and
That sounds good.
so that's where we're at now. I did get on EDEP and did open up an account for us.
Good.
And started to fill out the NOI and decided that, it would be, to our advantage to get some professional help.
Well, you gotta figure the people that are there now aren't the same people as before. And so a lot of them don't know what the old ones meant or did.
Mm.
And it'd be nice to have a new update.
Right.
For all the newer people that are coming in.
Right, yeah. And and towards that end, I have been trying to at the general meetings, I've been trying to update people and keep them informed as to why we do things, why we have rules in place. And
Oh, and not only that, but it'll, give you're closer to winter. It'll give you a few months to get it all done up.
yes,
You get back here before people get up there and
in some cases, most of this, I did find out that this order of conditions only applies to when the drawdown happens. I didn't realize that. I thought it was something that continued out over, over the full year.
Yeah, so this
It's-
might be an opportunity for Templeton Fish and Game to work, on creating the NOI for the conditions that they would hope to have if approved by you, right? So when we write our order of conditions and we do the special
Right.
conditions sheet, right?
Yeah.
Which is 95% the same for everybody, and then we make adjustments based on a certain scenario or project or whatever. It'd be their opportunity to propose conditions for us to put in,
Yeah.
like the drawdown and these,
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
Regular time, yeah.
Maybe similarly or maybe improved from what they've been working off of the last one. And then I already, I told Eric, it's then the Templeton Fish and Game's responsibility to ensure that if they want to continue this, to renew it every 3 years.
Yep.
So that you don't fall into this issue where we were without one for a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's to be continued.
Perfect.
Be continued when you're ready.
Yep.
Right, okay.
Sounds
very
good. Well, thank you so much, Eric.
Thank
If
you
you
very
have,
much, Eric.
do you have any other questions for them, or you think you're all set?
No, I guess it's, yeah, I just wanted to know, like, the order which things should be done. I guess the first is to get the NOI
Yeah.
in place.
Yes.
Will be assigned a number then. Now, submitting with the NOI to DEP is where this is all mostly on the orders of conditions.
Right.
Do I submit those orders of conditions with the NOI?
No, you would submit it in your NOI application for the work that you would want to do, right? For the project you want to do. So I think the original one, didn't it say like, wasn't it like beach management or some
It was, right.
type of verbiage like that? So you would put under the project description, the conditions you would want to have going forward. I don't know what they are, but like, build retaining walls when the drawdown happens, or fill sand beaches up to X amount of blah, 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 when conditions are whatever. If those are the things that you want, then you're proposing them to the commission and to Mass DEP.
And one of the things is doing beaches, they should do after drawdown
Right.
or before they open it up again.
Right.
The beaches will be in there when they come in.
Well, there may be a certain kind of a wall that you would rather see than a telephone pole.
So we could define that in,
As the Templeton Fish and Game Club, to all the people that rent your lots, if there's certain type of retaining walls or
Especially-
docks
Especially
or
retaining wall.
whatever,
Railroad ties where you're actually leaching, polluting.
yeah, we'd like to get those out.
So now your standard changes to a stone structure or something
Right,
of that
right.
sort. that
Interlocking
doesn't-
stones or something that's
Yep.
going to be,
And that would be the
Right.
new norm.
right, yeah.
So essentially, you're creating the NOI to propose it to them. So you should put in as much detail as you want to see there and use the original conditions that you liked and also propose new ones that you want to see going forward.
Dredging was mentioned, and that was something that I did read in, WPA.
Dredge is like dig.
Yeah, digging,
Dig.
I guess anything that has digging, anytime you move earth at all.
Yes.
I did notice in there that they do allow something called maintenance dredging.
Yeah.
Where you're not increasing the size of the gully or whatever it is. Things like that, should I include that in the?
You don't have to include exceptions that are already listed in the Wetlands Protection
Okay.
Act. No.
Okay, so we're really looking on, in the NOI to do exceptions to the NOI.
To the law.
To the
Yes.
WPA.
You got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that'll help as far as defining what to
Yes.
put in them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think, I don't have any other questions
Perfect.
right now.
You have my contact information. You can reach out if you need anything.
You've been very helpful.
Glad.
Yes, she's very helpful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming in. If you need anything, you
very
know where to find us.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay.
Mr. Andrews, what's next on the agenda?
31 Patriots Road has.
Oh,
been
my
reestablished.
agent update. My agent updates. Since our last meeting, 31 Patriots Road has been restabilized and I have instructed them how to fill out an NOI. I don't know when we will see that, but they are aware that they need one in order to issue a building permit. Secondly, I did a conservation restriction site walk at 138 Farnsworth Road, myself and North County Land Trust, and no issues were noted and a report was written. All set there. Lastly, I emailed you all that there is an all boards meeting Wednesday, January 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Senior Center, and you were invited by the Select Board. You are welcome to go.
Let's see, that on Tuesday night?
Sounds like a Wednesday night.
Wednesday,
Yeah,
Oh, Wednesday.
Wednesday night. George.
1/3/24.
Yep,
That's my other meeting is always on the first Monday,
gotcha.
but if that's on the first, it won't be till the eighth, because we don't have another meeting.
Do we have any chair comments?
No, I'm very proud that you're able to get the award you got from.
Oh,
Um,
George, thank you.
And it
I saw the picture.
was well
Thank
known.
you.
Andy, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, my face is plastered on the front of the Gardner News, so.
Yep.
Getting lots of accolades, but thank you so much. I really enjoy my job and I love being your conservation agent.
And we
so
love
thank
having
so
you.
much.
We really
Thank you.
do. And the only problem is people, we need people.
I know we need
We
people.
need members, people.
I know. Do we have any member comments, Mr. Simmons? Do you have any
David?
comments? Anything else you need to add?
No.
Okay.
Just make a motion to
Adjourn.
adjourn.
I will second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.